What is happening with Maui? People are calling it the Maui massacre, and I'm telling you guys, we may not have very much time. Videos about what really happened in Maui, they're already being scrubbed from the internet and deleted. People are talking about thousands of children missing from the school rosters. Oprah and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson getting flack for asking people for money. And get this, guys, the police being investigated for possibly leading people to their deaths during the Maui wildfires. Can you guess who were able to tell their stories? The people who didn't follow the authorities during the crisis. Check this out.
The demand for answers and accountability is understandable, but there is concern that so many uncoordinated investigations could conflict or leave key questions unanswered.
Every government action and inaction since the fire has been a complete failure. We need to stop these government failures at some point. Now is the time.
I definitely encourage this whole fire to be investigated further, not only for just legislation, but just on a criminal level.
Ann Williams joined other residents asking the Maui Council to investigate county agencies, including police who she believes accidentally directed people to their deaths.
We just were one of the smarter people, disobeyed the cops. I had a whole family in my car, including the 2-year-old. There was no way I was going to sit there and listen to this cop telling us to stay put.
I'm hearing all sorts of things about this, you guys. I heard the police were blocking people, so now they're calling for these very same police personnel to be tried, charged, and convicted of murder. I mean, if this turns out to be true, we could very well be seeing a possible mass murder in what happened in Maui. Then there's all this information changing right in front of us. Authorities in Hawaii have adjusted the numbers of deaths from the deadly Maui wildfire down to at least 97 people. Now, officials previously said they believed at least 115 people had died in the fire, but further testing showed they had multiple DNA samples from some of the same victims. The number of those who are missing also fell from 41 to 31. Remember when they changed up the definition of a recession just so that they could say that we aren't in a recession? Yeah, I'm just saying, let's be careful so that we have all the facts when we're looking at all these different news that are coming out of the mainstream media. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at what they have to say. Now, before I get into this, guys, I've done a lot of research on this, putting this whole video together and all that. Drop a quick like for the video and also subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Now, even with this number, their lab experts are saying that the current number of dead should be considered a minimum because it's possible that the toll could rise. The whole numbers game is just literally getting more complicated as we go along here. Different factors are at play, like the damage caused by the fire, the overall chaos as people tried to escape, and get this, guys, in some cases, animal remains were inadvertently collected along with human remains. Can you believe this, guys? So they say that 74 of the deceased have been positively identified, and the rest, well, they're just still working on it. The Lahaina fire is the deadliest in the United States in more than a century. People described it as being caught in a hellscape. Some residents died in their cars while others jumped into the ocean or just tried to run for safety. And you guys have seen the photos. The blaze reduced much of the historic town just to ash. The Maui County coroner described the scene when the fire broke out. People ran together. They huddled together. They're holding each other in those moments. Some of them were even holding their pets. In all that confusion, people's remains got all mixed up, even with their pets. Now they have a whole explanation why they lowered the death tally for the Maui wildfires. As they begin to do more analysis and examination, they realize that actually you've got 2 bags that were the same person, or you have 2 bags that were the same person, 2 people that you didn't realize that, yeah. The numbers start a little too high on the morgue side and eventually settles until at some point it's gonna be a final accurate number. I would say we're not quite there yet. I just hope that they get their facts straight soon. Am I right, guys? Plus, only 2 people who have had a missing persons report filed for them with the Maui Police Department are on the verified missing list. If a missing person report hasn't been filed for someone more than 5 weeks after the fire, then the person probably isn't actually missing. Right now, they have people working on the identification process, trying to reunify people to have them as whole as they're able to be before the remains are returned to their loved ones. They've got all sorts of tests going on, DNA tests, anthropologists are assisting, and officials are gathering clues from dental work and medical devices like pacemakers and wherever possible. And we're closely watching this, you guys, because we as Americans, we should start to realize what's happened in Ohio, in Maui, in Canada, California, and other places can happen to any of us at any point. You know what I'm saying? Just because it didn't happen in your state doesn't mean it can't. Another cause for concern after the Maui wildfires, the more than 2,000 children from Lahaina public schools still missing after the Maui wildfires. See, one sad fact is that the fire coincided with the first day back at school for many students, but schools had been closed due to an outage, so that left many of Lahaina's children home alone. It's just sad to hear the tragic stories that are coming out on social media. There was one piece about a 14-year-old who unfortunately died along with the family dog as his parents were trapped behind a police barricade. Many residents are concerned about Governor Josh Green's recent anti-housing proclamation aimed at speeding up the construction of 50,000 new homes on Oahu. Residents say that developers will exploit the tragedy to build expensive hotels and condominiums, particularly as many of the destroyed properties lie along the coastline. I mean, Maui was facing an existing housing crisis even before this. The average home price? $1.2 million. And that was just to keep a bare bones roof over your head. The federal disaster declaration didn't help much to relieve people. Locals report minimal assistance in the wake of the disaster. For example, the Department of Health initially blocked insulin-carrying flights that were supposed to be helping the people. It's okay now, but people are definitely going to be getting the impression that this is all one giant mess. One major cause for alarm, state authorities and the media possibly downplaying the likely high number of child victims to protect the Biden administration and Hawaii Democrats. The Hawaii State Department of Education has reported that 2,025 students remain unaccounted for in the Lahaina public school system. Private schools in Maui are also impacted. Maui Preparatory Academy received about 1,000 new applicants and reshuffled its campus to accommodate 110 new students, a 40% enrollment increase. Sacred Heart School, with about 200 students, completely destroyed by the fire. Parents and community members still couldn't get over the fact that many of the children were home alone when the fire struck because of an outage during that time. Now, if you look at social media, you will definitely see the difference in coverage with that of mainstream media. And so this is why people are suggesting a deliberate attempt to cover up government failures. They claim that once the true toll becomes apparent, all hell's going to break loose and a reckoning is imminent for local government and media alike. A lot of the survivors are just furious thinking about how a few more minutes of warning could have saved numerous lives. One father who managed to save his own children but not his neighbors stated that even a 10-15 minute warning could have made a significant difference in saving lives. Now, if you look online, people are just disgusted with the way that the disaster has been handled. They're calling out the local Hawaii officials for not doing enough to protect the island's most vulnerable residents. Just a few days ago, the mayor of Maui looked irritated at the question of how many children were missing. Now, of course, there are people who suspect foul play, whether it's the officials who know exactly how many children are actually missing and they're not being forthright, or that the officials did nothing to protect the children from being burned alive in the fires. Meanwhile, President Biden visited Maui and compared the tragedy to losing his 1967 Corvette in a fire once. You guys remember that? The entire situation just sounds a little bit fishy, and people are upset at the fact that it seems like content and media about the fires is being suppressed online. Mainstream media seems to have completely lost interest in the whole thing and moved on to other front page news. Maui is welcoming tourists back, but their own residents are displaced and they're worried that they will have nowhere to go. As Maui prepares for a full opening on October 8th, many of the displaced residents currently living in hotels in West Maui, they fear that soon they'll have nowhere left to go. They say that people are afraid that hotels will want their rooms back for tourists, and so there won't be any kind of offering to house them anymore. Governor Josh Green said that they're moving people into more permanent housing the best that they can, and that's going to be longer term rentals. I just wish he was a little bit more certain when he said that. Then you have Oprah and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. The two uploaded a video asking working class Americans to donate to Maui fire victims after their own contribution, their combined $10 million in donations. Then again, given the combined net worth of the two entertainment icons surpassing $2.8 billion, their call for public assistance has been met with skepticism online. I've heard people say that the video made them sick and that Oprah can't even fake compassion. Winfrey and Johnson donated $10 million to initiate the People's Fund of Maui. But considering how the two celebrities combined are worth $2.8 billion, people online are comparing that and saying it's similar to donating 35 cents out of $100. not to mention Oprah's real estate holdings in Hawaii. She recently acquired another 870 acres, bringing her total property ownership to nearly 1,000 acres in the region. Now take note, recently, there are rumors and conspiracy theories suggesting that Winfrey and other rich people might have had a role in starting the wildfires to expand their real estate portfolios. The Maui land grab is what people are calling it. Now, we've seen no concrete evidence confirming this. And quite frankly, regardless of how much these people are worth, I would never tell anyone how to spend their money. But this is what we're seeing online. The Maui County Council is considering a bill that would give residents and businesses the option to have the government remove fire debris from their properties for free. Bill 86 will head to a council committee for more discussion on September 26. But some upcountry residents and Mayor Richard Bisson, they want to move the bill through more quickly. But some West Maui residents asked the council not to pass the bill yet, saying it's too soon and some are not aware of the bill. Now, there's a lot to take in from the bill, including the ability to opt out of the government program for debris removal, along with penalties. The last thing the residents want to deal with is the aftermath and add a bill on top of it. You know what I mean? So if you made it this far in the video, drop a like to support. And if you really want to show your support for the channel and what we do here, consider subscribing. And I'm going to see you guys on the next one.